Alright. Here we go. More Kerbal Space Program. More career mode. Alright, let's see. What do we have going on? I am going to take this contract. This will be a nice quick one. I'll do that. But first... we do need to get the Equus vehicle off of Jebediah Kerman Memorial Station. And the craft we want to go pick up is just a little ways out behind it. So we do want to just wait a little bit here. Actually, while we're waiting for that, let's focus view on Minmus for just a second. Oh, that's quite a lot of orbital adjustment, actually. I like that this doesn't show descending node. That's super helpful. It's just my sarcasm, don't mind it. Oh, no, it does. Okay, it does. For a second, I thought it was not going to show me the descending node, and that would be very annoying, wouldn't it? So we want to be right there. There we go. That'll put us in the right inclination by the looks of it. Hello there, Stu.
You ready to stream?
I am streaming.
You are streaming?
Alright, let's see. We got orbit all squared away. On the right. Looks like that's right, although it's not flipping the descending node. It's kind of odd. Some prograde while we're at it. Okay, that should be fine. That's in 1 hour, 2 minutes. Not sure if that's going to leave us enough time to also catch our transfer window. But we'll just give it a shot. We'll see what happens. Our happy little science probe. Yeah, nothing really good there. Yeah, no new science. It's a shame. That's a shame. Set our engine down to 25% thrust. Maybe a little higher. 33% thrust. There we go. Give us a 4-second burn, a little easier to time, and warp the rest of the way here. So 2 seconds away from node. Come on. I'm in trouble actually aiming this at the node. We're going to be off a little bit to one side. Oh well. It's 2 seconds away is where we need to start burning. Just a little bit of correction. Okay. Well, that should do the trick. Looks correct to me. Yeah, it says we're ever so slightly off, but I doubt it. Okay, here we are. I doubt it's much of a big deal, though. Just to get close to this contract. Just a little more prograde. Should do it. Got another hour, 43 minutes. And let's go back and track the Equus and the Minmus lander. See how close they are to a good rendezvous. Actually, that worked out pretty good. Kind of about where we want to be. So very quickly, we're going to launch the Equus and get it set up for a rendezvous burn. Everything is all refilled. We've got a vehicle that is good to go. To figure out our orientation there for a second. Let's see, go to our core. Control point default, control from here. There we are. There's our target. Not far from us now. This will put us on a fairly dangerous burn, but I think that might actually work for us. Yeah, that's kind of an aggressive maneuver because we're going to be setting ourselves up to very nearly deorbit. But I think that should be fine. Of course, we're going to now go and screw up our orbit. But okay, we're going to have a 15-second burn, which means we're going to want to be about 7 seconds away when we start. We'll be burning mostly radial in, which is a little scary looking. And not the most efficient way to do this, I'm sure. We could just wait a couple orbits and save ourselves a lot of fuel, a lot of hassle. But we're going for speed here. We're trying to do this rapidly. This is going to give us a very short time to rendezvous. Now we can aim retrograde to target. Kill that maneuver node so we can see what our actual intersect looks like. 0.3, so yeah, 300 meters. Not bad at all. And this nice quick maneuver means once we do our dock, should have no problem flipping back to our probe around Minmus and getting it into its final orbit for yet another contract. So relative speed going to be 125 meters per second. It'll be about a 12-second burn. So with the 12-second burn, we want to be about 6 seconds away from our closest intersect, which is there. When we start to burn retrograde to target, just time warp a little bit towards it, so we're not waiting quite so long. Alright, so when we are 6 seconds away from our closest intersect, we will hit full throttle. And there we go. A little less than what the maneuver nodes were telling us. A little less distance. We're now station keeping with the target. And we can start to close that distance. Three meters per second should suffice. So I have a better visual. I'll start maneuvering us to dock to the rear of the spacecraft. And we can start pushing its happy butt off to Minmus. So I always end up doing this stuff at night. It's kind of hard to see. Some braking maneuvers just so I don't run into anything. Okay. So what I can do, if I do it quickly, aim directly at the target. Then target can flip around, make this our target. Rather than trying to maneuver around it, wasting RCS, let's just try to go for a direct approach. So we want to aim this craft directly away. From the transfer vehicle. Perfect. A little bit of correction here for the rotation. All right. Going in for the dock. That's a money shot right there. The RCS is not really helping the wobble there. I don't know what's going on there. You don't really need to be wobbling like that. Looking very good there. Alright. So we have a good dock. Let's control it from this bottom point here in the transfer vehicle, for consistency's sake. Make sure that these engines are deactivated. Which they are. Excellent. Alright, and we'll be all set to go. Wow, this ended up a little wobbly when I did not think it was. So we'll be all set to go for its transfer burn. But first... let's get the satellite contract knocked out of the way. Cancel the time warp, try and take some temperature scans here. Just realized I was heading over temperature scans I wanted. Let's see, where is it? There we go. Review data, transmit. Log temperature, and transmit. Which ones have we gotten? Okay, we got both. Whew! Almost missed that opportunity there. Gotta get these two, and then the other ones are all set to collect below a certain altitude, I believe. Yep, so we'll start doing landings after we get those other two. So anyway, just wanted to make sure I didn't miss that opportunity, because that was so painful. Like 3 live streams doing that around the moon, if not more. Alright. So now maneuver's coming up here in 5 minutes for this little guy. I get it pointed at the maneuver. We're going to thrust limit once again, just so this is at an appropriate level for the burn that we have to attempt. There we go. Warp to it. Alright, so now we're coming up on the maneuver. So once we are 2 seconds away from this maneuver, we'll hit full throttle. Should be a perfect maneuver, and the contract complete. Yep, that is another contract down. Thanks, little guy. Pretty handy probe. Now focus our attention back on Kerbin. find our untitled craft. And get this thing off to Minmus for its ore gathering mission. So, we need to figure when our best window is going to be to head over to Minmus. So with Minmus as our target, is it our target? Now it is. So it'll be way over there. She's going to start that a lot sooner. And we will do our inclination burn as part of this. Right? Possibly? No, we won't. Because that won't make any sense to do that, will it? Ah, boy. Really don't want to waste fuel doing an inclination change prior, which is something I usually do and then regret doing. I don't know what I just hit. It might seem bad, but I just don't know what I just hit. And it got me an intercept. A fairly cost-effective one, no less. In terms of Delta V, that is. Don't really know what's going on there. I think I'm willing to take that, and then probably mid-course. Okay, I don't know what just happened there. Like I'm hitting something with my mouse wheel, I think, is what's going on. Okay. So probably midway there, I can do a course correction for the ascending node. Although it's claiming the ascending node is right here. That just doesn't seem right. Yeah, we got it anyway. We good. We got a 2-minute 11-second burn, so we got one heck of a burn though, in order to pull this off. Oops, started that a little early. Should have started that at 1 minute 6 seconds, not 1 minute 11 seconds. It's alright. Alright, still got a lot of acceleration to go. This is stretching the Equus to its limits, I think. Pushing this much tonnage. This is quite the heavy craft. But all we really need to do is leave the Equus when we're done with enough fuel for it to get back to the Deep Space Gateway, which maneuvers around Minmus should need minimal fuel. Okay, we now need to make sure we have the intended rendezvous, which we do not. Which means we probably need just a little more on the prograde side. Auto aim prograde just to help us a little bit. No, that's actually not what we needed. We overshot. We need a little bit of retrograde. We've got a very massive construct here, so I'm allowing it to turn itself. It's of course going very fast right now, so this is the time we want to not do any inclination maneuvers. Because inclination maneuvers would actually be helpful right now. Yep, there's our intercept that we wanted. Aim back prograde. But no, we are not going to do the inclination maneuver here. We're going to do the inclination maneuver much later on. We're going to do it right about here. And we're about halfway. That way we've bled off a lot of the speed that we just gained to get out of Minmus's sphere of influence. As you can see, that'll be bringing us down towards Minmus with minimal effort. A little radial change as well. a little bit. Retrograde? Nope. Prograde? Shouldn't be prograde. That'll bring us much closer. And we're only just going to spend 13 meters second of delta V in a 1 second burn, as opposed to trying to do this here at the ascending node and using hundreds. So definitely points for efficiency doing it this way. And since our maneuvers have already been made up to that one, just going to aim ourselves towards that maneuver node and let us drift into position for that 1 day or so waiting period. And I might try to multitask a little bit in the meantime while that's approaching its next maneuver. All right. Easy peasy. In the meantime, well, that is now on its way. We did a lot of time warp to try and pull off the last attempt at that ore collection. Gravimetric surveys. Above, 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 above. This would be one I can accomplish with a really cheap probe. That might be something to try and do. Let's build the probe for Winter Owl. All we need is gravity surveys above certain altitudes. That's nice and easy. Use our trusty hex core. Throw an inline reaction wheel on there. Couple Oscar B tanks. If I want an extra one, maybe. Spark engine on the bottom. Truss mount. Oh, that's what I'm forgetting. No, it didn't look right. Battery. Okay, add some battery in there. Some cheap antenna, since Minmus has a very good relay network. Don't have to worry too much about that. Do 3 of those. Just to make sure we're covered. We do, of course, want a gravioli detector, which is probably one of the greatest named items ever. Gravioli. Just a single gravioli detector on there. Don't think there's anything else I really need to put on there. Oh, it's a probidobidine. Oh, how come it's Gravmax? It's just probidobidine on the thing. Oh yeah, no, manufacturer probidobidine. Got it. It's just the model. Conspiracy theories were just flying there. Alright, then this is going to be pretty disposable, so I'm going to try and do some cheap solar panels. Just ones that look neat to me. Give it a body of cheap solar panels. Just makes it feel more real. This is purely aesthetics. Are there about 1 million better ways to put solar panels on this? Absolutely. Are they as fun as this one? Eh. Overlap them all slightly. Make sure they're nice and uniform. If we're going to do it for aesthetics, we better do it right. There we go. Looks pretty good. This is a single gravioli detector. I don't know. Is there anything else I really want to put on that? No, right? Oh wow, that's huge. Nope. How much does this thing weigh? Less than a ton. Less than a ton. So that already has a lot of delta V. What I want to see is, if I throw one of these on, one of those on, jump to 3 tons. And if you have an empty tank on it, and the Terrier. How much delta V does that stage have? That stage has a metric butt ton of delta V. Even that has a lot of delta V. It has an excessive amount of delta V. And this would only be 1.79 tons. Huh. Here's one thing I always forget, and I can take care of that in just a second here. And we can see how much it's going to weigh with the protective fairing over it. Plenty of clearance there. Payload fairing. Brings up to 2.5 tons. Okay, let's try this again. So fairing gets deployed. Empty fuel tank. That's more like what we need to get to. To min-miss. I think probably we'll have a little bit of leftover fuel because we'll be launching a little light. So the whole thing weighing 2.5 tons. So there should be, for the Decanus 1E, our economy version of the Decanus. With the cheaper Terrier powered second stage rather than the Cheetah. It's a little more pointed. Okay, this is looking pretty good. So we gotta fix the staging. First stage, obviously, main engine, the two gimbal engines for thrust vectoring. Then we're gonna have to, more likely than not, break the fairing first. We have second stage engine and separation. Then the payload itself, we have Return burners. Separation. Maybe I should just put that extra thing of fuel in there. On the one hand, doesn't seem necessary. On the other, I'm not so sure. And it's not that much more expensive. 220 credits. It's not like it's making a radical difference. It does make the payload 3.7 tons. Which would be a little heavy. We could probably get away with about 3.5. Right about there. So it's just slightly short fueled. That keeps us from overwhelming the first stage. Alright, that should do us. It should be fine. I don't know why I'm standing here looking so paranoid. So what would we call a gravity probe? Probe 1. Oh. There we go. Alright. Remember last time I went too aggressive with the gravity turn. So I gotta remember not to do that this time. So I'm going to hit the 10,000 meters. Then at 10,000 meters, start aggressively turning. This time I just need to cut it off a little sooner than I did last time. This does have a hard time turning with so little thrust vectoring capability. And try and hold it here at the 30 marker. That's a little better. Yeah, that 30 marker was winner, chicken dinner. So we are going to keep the fairing on for the extra weight and the extra aerodynamic capability as we get out of the atmosphere. Get ready to put us into a circular orbit, which I suspect will be a very long burn. Yeah. And we're 1 minute away. I'm going to start. Getting ready here, so we're going to drop the fairing. Kick up to the second stage so we can aim a little easier. Aim right at the node and go. I'm gonna aim prograde, give us a little higher apogee actually. Keep it pushing out in front of us. Which is not going to be enough actually. I'm going to kill that maneuver node. I'm going to just do things by eye here. I want to aim up just a little bit. Stability assist. Keep this driving out in front of us. Not too much, mind you. But just enough. Since we do have a very underpowered engine for this. So you can see I'm slowly, on the nav ball here, I'm slowly nosing down. Until I'm comfortable that I can keep the apogee in front of the craft. As we're doing now. I'm looking good actually. Not bad for a little Terrier engine, that's for sure. Really saving us some money there. We're getting orbit going here. Aim down just a little bit, just to favor the periaps. There we are. We're in orbit. All right, now. Set Minimus is our target, which is currently being weird. Ascending node. This we're going to have plenty of fuel, so we're going to do our ascending node ahead of time. Get us in the same plane. A little easier for us to find a rendezvous. You can see here we're doing 244 meters per second of adjustment, where on the craft we just sent we're only spending 13. So that's what the difference you kind of get when you're trying to do this close into Kerbin. So the idea is the slower you're going, the easier it is to make an adjustment to your heading. You feel that when you're driving in a car, right? When you're going really fast, you know, you kind of get the inverse. A little tip one way and your car goes flying out of control. Well, it's kind of the inverse when you're dealing with space. It's it's going to be very dead set and heading in the way it's going, and to try and manipulate that is going to be difficult. Because you don't have the luxury of friction in the road underneath you. Okay, we're now on the correct inclination. Let's set up a maneuver. Which is just not even going to be close to min-miss. We're going to want to be on the next pass, probably. Because we're going to be right about there. Yep, so on the next pass. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. Got it. The game's not figuring out the correct altitude for representing the orbit, and that's making things very confusing. Got it. Let's make sure we're out in front of it. Slow us down a little bit. There we go. That one's perfect. So our second stage, if need be, can just be dropped and we'll head right back to Kerbin for an impact. That's perfect. So I've explained it a couple times when I do this, but just so everyone knows, the way you get your second stage or third stage, whatever stage you're using to transfer, to get it to fall back to Kerbin after getting to another body like min-miss, make sure that you're on your encounter, you come out in front of the planetary body, in this case a moon. And what it'll do is it'll actually, the gravity of it behind you will slow your vehicle down at apogee, therefore lowering your perigee, same as if you were burning retrograde and slowing your craft down. So that then free returns that craft. Simple when you think about it. But I suspect this stage will still have plenty of fuel left in it to do the capture burn. And I will probably be ejecting the lower stage into min-miss. The more I thought about it, I decided to give us just a little extra fuel. Just to make sure that we can do inclination change maneuvers and pick up all the gravity scans that we want to pick up. And I just realized we did quite a bit of time warping there. Actually, not as much as I was worried that I was going to make. So about 26 seconds away. Just right there, we're going to start burning. Missed that by a second. Yeah, this little stage should have plenty of fuel to do that capture burn. It's a benefit of having such a light craft. Lightest craft we even bothered to design a launcher for was 3 tons. This is less than 1 ton. So, filling the rest of that tonnage with extra fuel for the second stage makes it a very convenient transfer stage. And doesn't result in any extra expensive components. Oddly, no encounter. And yeah, the orbits are really goofed up right now, aren't they? See if we can get that to recalculate. It's just getting a little glitchy. Yeah, that looks better. And I think we need to retrograde burn a little bit with this guy. Guess not. There we are. There's our return. That's exactly what we were expecting. Okay. Let's just stop the burn a little early. Here, I was thinking I overshot it. Alright. Not too shabby. Let's just aim it. Anything other than prograde. Let's just aim it radially here. Aim it in this case. Yeah, let's do aiming up the inclination path. So this way, no matter which way it's rotating around, this way, it'll be facing the sun and collecting power. Just want to make sure it's actually collecting power. Keep it pointing north. Okay, how's our little transfer craft doing? I got a lot of time. Okay, 9 hours until it gets to sway baby. All right. Possibly launch a new cleanup probe. And some more space debris to bring down. I don't know why that seems light. 2.25. Thought it was supposed to be a little more. Than 3 tons. Am I remembering wrong? I really seem to remember this being slightly more than 3 tons. Actually, what we need to do, we need to get that one stray landing gear down. I'm forgetting all about that. There's a way to like close that up after. A bunch of cool like I-beams and stuff. Question. Landing gear. Aha. Aha. So if I'd fired these as little missiles to destroy stuff, it would have worked. Because these are more destructive. Might make the return of the satellite killing missile. Otherwise, I'm out of ideas, really. I don't see too much else of what I can really do to kind of trap that landing gear. I guess I could. Okay, but then how do I control that? I'm gonna go back to using landing gears, which is ironically how that landing gear got there when I went back and looked it up. Okay, goofy monstrosity. Just another day at Dude I Called You Bro space program. I'm using that Decanus a lot today. Ah. This is what's goofing me. Using the wrong size fairing. That's still designed for the Sagittari that we took apart. Sagittari is no more. And I was overweight. But I think it should do fine. Little overweight's not bad. At least for this rocket. Towers, gimbal, main engine, second stage engine. Disable the staging on that. Deorbit the second stage. Power the actual grabber. Fairing separation before second stage ignition. Okay. Need a chiropractor. All right. Time to find that landing gear. Which is this guy right here. That's the Probus B debris. So we need it to be in a better position. Yep, so letting that come around. Now should be a good time to launch or so. Alright, everything looks good. Off we go. So 10,000 meters, and then I'll start pitching over. We'll try and pitch over as steep as possible. Until we hit that 30-degree mark. At that point, we'll hold. So pitch. It says unusually good pitch control, which concerns me. I think that almost just went out of control on us. I think it had just enough surface area in the front compared to the last one. But it does turn a little early. So we're going to keep that 30-degree mark. Hopefully that's going to do it for us. It's looking like it's going to give us a pretty shallow run of things, actually. Try and aim us up at least a little. Made our design just a little too stable there. Alright. So right out the second stage. Kill the fairing before we get up to orbital velocity. Alright then, at apogee, finish out our orbit. Nice and low. We want to catch up to this thing. So we've got 7 seconds of burn remaining. To get into orbit. So there we go. The thing's almost a 4-ton launcher. Makes it much more reasonably priced in terms of the per ton. Judging by how much fuel we have left over, it probably is a 4-ton launcher. Like I've not been giving that launcher enough credit. Granted, we are saving the extra weight on the economy version, not spending it on the actual engine itself. We're putting a heavier cheetah, which weighs an extra half a ton anyway. So, yeah, saving money and increasing performance. Not a bad combination. Alright, so we are on a slightly tighter orbit. I want to do probably right about here. Let's figure out what we need to do to get our rendezvous just right next time. Okay, so we're going to get down to 700 meters, looks like, with this. I'm not sure what we could do to make that any better from this position. Probably have to make that from the opposite side of the orbit. I'm tired. Oh, there we go. Just accidentally hit that button really hard and away it goes. So let's thrust limit a little bit, so this is at least somewhat easy to time out properly. Four-second burn. Alright. Doing this the fuel-efficient way. That looks like a perfect burn. Yep. Dead on. Love it when that happens. Now we're going to warp around the orbit. One full orbit. Alright, we can now switch to target tracking. Retrograde target. Missed our window there a little bit. I don't know why I ended up going so far, but... Oh well. 300 meters is still a pretty good distance. We can still make this pretty easy. finally deorbit this darn landing gear. Ironically, from a grabber that was designed very much like this one. I was trying to deorbit a capsule, I think way back day 20. I didn't have the grabber unlocked. So I tried to use landing gear to grasp one, and it didn't work that time. And I tried to do a ramming speed maneuver, which was very ill-advised, and generated a single landing gear of debris. And here it is. So let's see. If I want to be able to maneuver this at all decent, I might want to drop that second stage, even though it still has fuel. But let's just not worry about that. Let's see if we can just maneuver without doing anything. Rotation mode. Let's point right at the darn thing. Okay. Get another tube. Close the holding gears. Orbit. Aim retrograde. Okay, and apparently kick the darn thing out. Because I had RCS on. Track the landing gear. Active target tracking. Okay, and it goes. Okay, retention gear. It says retention gear. Okay. Now. Deorbit this damn thing. Deorbit it, I say. That's right, kick it out. Whoosh. Off it goes. Alright, and then we can kick this off. Get back into orbit. Not that I even know what I would do with this thing in orbit, actually, come to think of it. Well, let's just see. Maybe we'll come up with something. There we go. Safe orbit. Little landing gear is on its way down. Other debris do we have around here? Oh. How did I do this? I'm really starting to wonder about myself. Oh no, I remember what this one was. Improper staging. I have 2 sweepers nearby. I think this is the claw. Yep, this is the claw sweeper. Well, let's see what we can do. So we need to catch up to it. Almost we're parags, which makes us the perfect time to actually do this. Don't waste your RCS. Don't do that. You know, nice tight orbit. Means we should be gaining on this thing over the course of a few orbits. We get the periaps again. I'm going to once more try and lower the opposite side of our orbit. Make this just a little more dramatic speed up here. Or catch up to this. Not really speeding up, we're decelerating, but okay. It's a very minimal orbit here. It's about as tight as I can get in without touching the atmosphere. What is untitled spacecraft debris? Really? Oh, this has got to be quite old. Because I was still bothering to put a pair of cheetah engines on instead of a poodle. And this cleanup probe is still holding on to a contract part for recovery. I do need to figure out how I'm going to get that and bring that back as well. It's another contract I can get knocked out of the way sometime soon. So looks like this is going to be maybe 2 more orbits. Just kind of annoying. This is a very tight orbit. Well, the game seems to be having like a resolution problem here with these straight lines. I don't know what's going on there. Still need to catch up to this thing a little bit. Wow. Okay, we can now warp to the maneuver. Okay. Cleaning up broken cleanup drones, apparently, is the goal for tonight. Wasn't exactly what I set out to do. But here we are. Okay, we're gonna have a 1 second burn. Let's half throttle this. Make it maybe like a 2 second burn. Maybe a little less, make it a 4 second burn. There we go. Find it much easier to time 4 second burns properly. Okay, there's our 0.5 meter intersect. So 500 or 0.5 kilometers, 500 meter intersect. I could make this ascending node correction and that a little easier, but not terribly worried about it. This should be close enough for us to do what we need to do without there being much problem. We overshot that, so I'm just going to do a quick slow down with our RCS. RCS back off, and let's close the distance with the main engines. Meters a second should do. Nice rapid approach. The trick about rendezvousing like this, is doing it quickly. You don't want to do it too slow. If you manage to pass 1/4 of the rotation of your not rotation, but 1/4 of the completion of your orbit. Completion is the word I wanted. If you get through 1/4 of it, then what was the direction you were trying to go, up, down, left, to right, relative to that, now has shifted 90 degrees. So the wise thing, of course, is always to make those adjustments quickly. Not so quickly that you pull a progress mirror and smash into a space station, but, you know, still pretty fast. Okay, so we're going to use our claw to grab this claw. Thankfully, these little probes have really good RCS control. There we go. We've grabbed the claw with our claw. If we want to make this clawception any funnier, I think what I might do is, before we attempt to deorbit this, first go for that big tank that we needed to deorbit and just deorbit everything all at once. Because I'm pretty sure I can now control this claw. I sure can. Clawception. Alright. So now we want to slow down in our orbit by a lot. So we're going to actually go prograde. Oh god, wasting RCS. I don't have a lot of RCS left either. So we're going to go prograde. Raise our orbit significantly. And that'll let it catch up to us. Nice and smooth. So we're going to fan way out to a high orbit that's going to make our rotation around Kerbin. I keep messing everything up tonight. Makes our rotation around Kerbin take longer, which allows that craft to catch up to us, even though we are technically going faster. So once we get through this rotation, I'll want to see how close we get. Pretty close, actually. So at next orbit, we're going to want to bring down our orbit once more. Bingo. Just like that. 1 kilometer separation is not too shabby. There's, I think, a little bit of inclination to worry about there. Yep. And just a tiny bit of timing issue. Oh, I want to keep my node, please. I think 1 might have been the sweet spot. Might not mess with that too much. Alright, so we can warp to our maneuver. You can see we're now pretty close to each other. We're still a little ahead of it, but not by much. So, 3 seconds away, we're going to do a 6-second burn. Overdid it. But I think that still actually improved it for us. It's not bad. Puts us right at the descending node. So we don't really need to worry about inclination correction. We'll do it when we do our braking maneuver relative to our target. Relative speed will be 128 meters per second, which is actually quite a bit. So what we need to see what that looks like in terms of how long it's going to take us to actually come to a relative stop. 128. 12 seconds. It's going to take us 12 seconds to come to a stop. So about 6 seconds away. From our closest approach, we are going to start burning retrograde to target. We'll match speed, go and grab it with our Clawception. So there we go, there's our closest approach right there. So we're going to make sure we're aiming target retrograde. We are indeed. And 6 seconds away is where we're going to hit full throttle. Okay, speed is now cancelled out completely. We can aim directly at the target. Just make sure we're controlling from here. Make sure we don't have a slightly off angle because of the claw or something. Okay, now we need to close the distance kind of fast here, because we're quite a ways away. I think one of my cats is snoring. Yep. It's not actually the cat that I thought was snoring. Different cat. I just realized we're doing a bad thing. Hold on. We need to make sure we grab this from the separator ring. Or it's not going to give us credit. So trying to be very conservative with the monoprop because we do not have a lot left. Which is probably then going to end the life of this sweeper probe. We're just going to let everything deorbit. Despite its enormous amount of fuel there. Okay, Clawception's looking good. That's a perfect Clawception. Alright. We'll aim retrograde. Yeah, this is going to pretty much use up the last of the fuel. Trying to push something this heavy. That's fine. This little probe did a good job there. that might just get rid of all my low orbit debris. Let it decay and blow up on its own once it's out of fuel. Perfect. And we do have that component recovery. I've yet to fail any mission, and I think that might be the one that I fail. It is currently with a probe. Actually, I have a cleanup probe currently grasping onto it for dear life. Wow, yeah, that really did. It cleaned up all the debris around low Kerbin orbit. We've got some stuff further out, stuff that makes passes close to us. That I can probably try and go for, like all these. And then some of these are just way out there. Like that, I'm not going to be getting back. Nor any of that. What is this, the Adventurer one? Wow, that thing has gone a good ways. And what about this one? What the hell is this? What do I have that's that close to the sun? Is that our Sentinel? No, because I named the Sentinel. Right? It is the Sentinel. Oh, this is the first Sentinel that is way outside of radio contact. Ew. Okay. Excellent reason. Well, that's not doing us any good. Alright. What about this one? The Adventurer 1. I want to see what's going on with the Adventurer 1. I would just absolutely crap myself if it suddenly had comms range again. But I know that's not the case. This little guy has been out there for so long. Look how old. It even has a little bit of electric charge. It's actually doing okay on electric charge. It's still alive. It just can't reach us. Just can't talk to us right now. Could potentially someday have an encounter of some kind. I don't know. Anyway. What I wanted to do is check out that cleanup probe. So this is the part that we need to bring back. A little bit problematic. It's a little bit large. What I need to do to bring that back safely. Because the difficult part of that is I need to be able to land it safely. I don't suppose I did save that vehicle. Capture vessel, there we go. Which, hilariously, is bolted to a Centurion 1, which is no longer what we would use. Centurion 2. Actually, probably just a regular Centurion 2. Not even the two, yeah, that would probably be what we would want to do. And then that would actually be bad to have the aerodynamic pressure up that high, because our center of mass is way down here. So we would want to probably throw some big fins down at the bottom. There we go. The thing I'm questioning with this is the grabber. The grabber might need a little more clearance to get in there, because the part that's going to be going in there is this guy. So it's going to be able to get partway in, but it's going to get stopped right about there. And I don't think that's far enough to actually get to that. So I need a shorter tube. So like a medium, well, maybe not a medium, but a medium long, maybe. And that means all this stuff needs to come up. And that's going to mess up my aerodynamics a little more, I think. Or it could just be conspicuously absent. Okay. Okay, yeah, so that would be... Ugh, like on it. Just bad. As soon as we started burning fuel, though, it gained stability. So there is that saving grace. And I think this would do. Second stage fires. We need retros. Okay. That should do. So that guy opens up the bay and fires those back to deorbit the second stage. Fairing will have to be blown before that, I'm sure. And we can activate that. And then finally that gets selected. Those slow us down, and then these land us. Okay. This could probably do it. Continue our cleanup mission. Alright. Oh, I'm getting tired. So we want to wait for the cleanup probe to be in position once again. So it's probably right about here or so. That's the sweeper. I probably will just deorbit that sweeper when we're done here. Because there's no more junk to pick up. We'll launch some dedicated ones with claws to go take some of the further reaching bits out. Okay, that was weird. Alright, off we go. $10-ton Centurion launcher instead of the 12-ton. And it's cheaper per ton. So let's hope this does the trick. I think the wing surface made it a little less fuel efficient last time. Good, and we are burning fuel from the bottom first, which is going to make this more top heavy and therefore more stable. At 10,000 meters, we're going to nose over, start doing our turn. Try not to go too fast because we have a lot of control right now. Probably should have just disabled those tail fin controls. It's giving us like too much control. Not enough stability. Okay, now accelerating as much as possible at the 45-degree angle. I'm going to drive that apogee as high as possible. On a basic rocket like this, I should probably run out of fuel a little short of space on our apogee. Oh, no, about right. Look at that. Perfect. Aim prograde, just so aerodynamics doesn't create too much drag. I want to get to orbit. Oof. That is going to be a long burn. Be closer to a 2-minute burn, but this is going to be a long burn. So 1 minute out, I'm going to queue up the second stage. Okay, there we go. It's still acting like we're not going to make it on just the second stage. Let's get a little closer. Let's kill the maneuver node. Get a little closer to apogee. Wow, we really missed our window there. Make sure we stay on a nice tight orbit. Okay, now auto-aiming prograde. Don't need the fairing anymore. That might help us out a little bit. It's dead weight we can drop. Probably should have caught that before I fired the engines there. Okay, well. I think that little boost just gave us orbit. But we need to flip around. Now retrograde. Stability assist. Open the bay doors. Change our control mode to reversed. Now we can aim prograde. Apogee's still a while away. So we're going to deploy our solar panels. Here we want to raise our perigee just barely into space. Should do. It's going to be a 4-second burn. Oh. Activate into that engine so I can just use the normal controls when that comes around. Probably should have checked the weight of this thing. I think it is a little overweight for that Centurion. Although it looks like we're going to get away with it, and comparing that, comparing the prices there, it's no competition. That Centurion was, I think, like double the cost. Compared to the new version that we used. Okay, there we have orbit. Nice, safe, stable orbit. Alright, now we're going to use the cleanup probe and see if we can't try and get this rendezvous going from this side rather than from the perspective of our new launched vehicle. There we go. Alright, let's start with that. Then we'll do a different maneuver on the opposite side of the orbit. A little hard to control since we are a little lopsided. That should do. And on the opposite side of the orbit, right here, okay, then we need to change our timing. Do have a bit of inclination difference. Do you need to correct the inclination? Okay. Oh, there we go. It's a nice intersect right there. No extra work required. Sometimes patience truly is the answer. Alright, so this maneuver next. It's going to be another 2-second maneuver. I'll throttle this down. Get a 4-second maneuver, and hopefully that'll help the reaction wheels keep up with the odd tippiness. So 2 seconds out, we'll start hitting the throttle. Boom. Okay, a little bit of correction. Perfect. Perfecto. There we are. We'll have a very nice intersect when we get to that position. Still doing quite good on fuel actually as well. And we'll only have 61 meters per second of delta V to close. So it's going to be about 12 seconds to stop. So about 6 seconds before our closest approach. That's where we're going to want to start maneuvering here. So let's warp here. So we're going to immediately go retrograde the target. Like there's just like a band of debris out here. Okay, so now we got the retrograde hold. Should help us a little bit also for keeping stable. We want to be about 6 seconds away from closest approach, which is looking like that's actually probably wrong. We probably want to start doing this now. Okay, so this is the tricky part. Why is the RCS jet's not going? Oh, I like way turned down the thrust limiter on that. Why? Why do they do such a thing? Okay. So we're going to try and position this out in front of the other craft, as close to it as possible, because we're going to have to let go of it with this grabber in order to let that grab it with its grabber, which is going to be a pain because this is probably going to try and rotate. Okay, so now what we need to do, ourselves around. Gently burn towards release and crap, it spins it. Get us out of the way. And then let the grabber ship do its thing. So I was just passing by the other cleanup probe. Now dropped off this hot piece of garbage for us. Make a pretty fast approach here. We can pretty much pick what part of the rotation we're going to go and grab this on. Up a little more. Nope. Back off. Back off. Okay, little trick. It's really not fair that it like immediately puts a spin on that. So we're gonna do some cheatiness. Not to mention, I don't know why there would ever be just a floating tank in space. It's kind of unrealistic, is it not? But now it should be done rotating. Completely the wrong way, but you know, whatever. We'll take what we can get. So with RCS off, let's flip ourselves around. Get ourselves into the correct orientation to grab this thing. Which we are not quite on, but that's okay.